The Carlton River catchment commences in the iconic Wielangta Forest region of southeast Tasmania and extends south to the river's watershed into Frederick Henry Bay, adjacent to Carlton Beach. This area is collectively known as the Southern Beaches and is home to the communities of Kellaby, Copping, Brim Creek, Carlton, Dodges Ferry and Lewisham, amongst others. The area is defined by the coastal-rural interface, which marries surf beaches with vibrant coastal and rural communities along with productive agricultural lands. The region provides for an idyllic lifestyle that is popular with young families and retirees alike. This region is home to the endangered swift parrot, wedge-tailed eagles and Tasmanian devils. Within the river's watershed into Frederick Henry Bay, there exists the last known breeding colony of the critically endangered red handfish. All of these idyllic attributes, however, are now in jeopardy thanks to the intent of government and corporate interests to turn the region into the major waste repository of Tasmania. The operator, known as Southern Waste Solutions, a joint authority of 4 local councils, wishes to monopolise Tasmania's waste management industry, directing the vast bulk of waste to landfill. This is despite Tasmania having the worst recycling and recovery rates for waste in the nation. Indeed, whilst the national average for diversion of waste from landfill is around 60% of all waste, Tasmania languishes at just 16%. That's right, Tasmania, supposedly the clean green state, digs big holes and dumps all its waste, including recyclables, into them, whilst the rest of the country and the world have moved steadily away from such wasteful and harmful practices. The Copping landfill is located just a few hundred metres from the main arm of the Carlton River, placing the river at significant risk from devastating leachate pollution now and into the distant future. Southern Waste Solutions plans to construct a hazardous material waste cell, known as a C-cell, here at this location, and to fill it with commercial, industrial and international hazardous waste. This proposal seeks to take waste from industry and other countries and transfer it into the ongoing liability of the Southern Beaches communities. Southern Waste Solutions is trying to pitch its hazardous materials landfill as a clean green development, but it is anything but. The bulk of the materials destined for this C-cell are heavy metal contaminated soils which are better remediated in situ by processes such as thermal desorption and fixation, oils and emulsions which should be reprocessed and reused, and agricultural waste which has alternate bioconversion technologies. Did you know, for instance, that in the heavily populated and industrialised nation of Germany, 99% of all its waste is diverted from landfill? How is that achieved, you might ask? Well, there exists myriad technologies to deal with waste, which recycles, reuses and reprocesses it, and these are heavily utilised in Germany. However, the most important driver of waste management practices in Germany has been through government legislation motivating reform. Legislation such as waste to landfill levies and landfill bans. Tasmania is one of only 2 states in Australia without a waste to landfill levy. In Victoria, hazardous waste is levied at between $70 and $250 per tonne prior to any additional gate fees. It's no wonder Tasmania only diverts 16% of its waste from landfill and Victoria diverts almost 60%. Additionally, Southern Waste Solutions wants all waste from Antarctic treaty nations. This is despite the Madrid Protocols and Basel Convention dictating that countries repatriate their own waste from Antarctica. Southern Waste Solutions is actively spruiking the Tasmanian and the Australian governments to have this waste liability transferred to the residents of Tasmania's southern beaches, motivated primarily by the money that can be made from accepting international hazardous waste. Waste should be viewed as a resource. From this perspective, discarding materials to landfill is truly wasteful. Landfill encourages cheap disposal of otherwise valuable resources which should be recovered and reused. While historically landfill has been the cheap and easy option for burying the exorbitant amount of waste that a modern consumer society generates, There is no excuse to rely on it in our modern age. Multiple technologies exist that allow us to transform waste into reusable resource. Help protect the Carlton River and the communities of the southern beaches from the harmful and wasteful practice of landfill.
Look, for me, it's very important that government at any level, state, local government, federal government, that they follow proper process and that they respect community. And in the case of the proposed sea cell at Copping, there is not a proper process being followed and there is no respect for the local community. As far as process, the state government really does need to develop a statewide hazardous waste policy, which would determine exactly what the need is for various categories of waste dumps, and if in fact we do need a Category C waste dump, to determine the best place for it. But this waste dump, this Category C waste dump, is being progressed in the complete absence of such a statewide and well-considered plan. And as far as the community goes, there are a great many people who either live in the general area of Copping, or perhaps they holiday over there, they've got shacks there, for any number of reasons. They have legitimate concerns about this, and they're being ignored. The role of government is to listen to community and to represent community, but that is not the case in this case.
Our concerns are that the landfill site is going to take a toxic waste dump, which is hazardous waste, which is heavy metals and contaminated soils, among other things. There will be some environmental waste going into it as well. They can't really say that that will be secure, although they are trying to. And our concern is that it's only 200 metres from the catchment for the Carlton River, and it's only 800 metres from one of the tributaries to the Carlton River. Now the Carlton River, which is what we're standing near now, flows into Frederick Henry Bay, which is one of the major bays around the southern region of Tasmania, and it will pollute that area.
Now they say, you say that they say it'll be secure, and you say you have concerns about that. What measures does a sea cell involve to provide supposed security for this material?
They propose that it's going to have two plastic liners, high density polyethylene liners, 2 mil thick, and they're going to be separated by 500 mil of clay, and then they're going to sit on what they say is a metre of clay. That sits on what they call bedrock. We say there are faults in the bedrock. Also, if you look at the science that sits behind this, of which there's 30 years of people looking at clay liners and looking at polyethylene liners and trying to ascertain the length of time that they will hold different materials, they say in the short term, yes, there maybe up to 10 years, 13 years would be okay, but after that they won't guarantee that those liners will hold waste. They say it depends on the waste that's going in, and we say, well, the waste that's going in is very varied, it's very hazardous, and if it mixes, then it could cause the fabric to maybe dissolve or fracture. It depends on how they put the liners in. If the laps or the sealed joints aren't right, it could leak right from the word go. If it gets a crease, then the crease, it will not be guaranteed because the crease could crack. If it's exposed to air, if either liner is exposed to air, it could start to disintegrate. So I can't see how that's secure.
We've set up a Southern Beaches Conservation Society Facebook page, which has been a very powerful tool for publicising and gaining momentum for our rallies that we have held, a number of to date, and that's been a really fantastic tool to use on a grassroots level to empower the community.